السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وحبيبه، بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة، فكشف الله به الغمة، وتركنا على المحجة البيضاء ليلها كنهارها لا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. O you who believe, fear and be conscious of Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except in a state of total submission to Him and Him only. Amma ba'd. Brothers and sisters, this past month we've been on the topic of parents, and we've been discussing how important and how crucial parents are in our day-to-day lives. And to continue on this amazing topic, let us take a look back on a prophet whose story combined both and taught us both how to be a parent and how to be a child. And that is none other than the story of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. And if we were to look back on Prophet Ibrahim's life in its entirety, we'll find that from the beginning of his life till the end, he got tested with his family a lot. A lot of his tests were regarding his family, whether it was his father, whether it was his son, whether it was, his tribe as a whole. And so it all started when Prophet Ibrahim, he started questioning what his people were doing. And he started really to think for himself and think about worshiping these idols. And, he started going on about that until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he revealed to him and he got revelation from Allah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says in the Quran, when Ibrahim alayhi salam, he finally approached his father, he says, وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ إِبْرَاهِيمِ. He said, وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ إِبْرَاهِيمِ, and mention in the book Ibrahim, إِنَّهُ كَانَ صَدِّيقًا نَبِيًّا. Surely he was the most sincere and he was a prophet. And then Ibrahim, he approached his father. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says in the Quran, إِذْ قَالَ لِأَبِيهِ يَا أَبَتِ. Remember when he said to his father, "Oh my dear father," Oh dear father, يا أبتي لما تعبد ما لا يسمع ولا يبصر ولا يغني عنك شيئا. Why do you worship something that can neither hear nor see, and it can't benefit you at all? He's making his father think. Ya abati, my dear father. He continues, he says, Ya abati, inni qad ja'ani min al-ilmi ma lam ya'tika fattabi'ni ahdika siratan sawiya. Oh dear father, I have certainly received some knowledge which you have not received. So follow me and I will guide you to the straight path. And then he continues, he says, Ya abati, Ya abati, oh dear father, la ta'bud al-shaytan. Don't worship Satan. Don't be of Satan's followers. Inna ash-shaytana kana lir-rahmani 'asiya. Surely Satan is ever rebellious against the most compassionate. He rebelled against Allah. Why would you want to follow someone who rebelled against God? And then he says, Ya abati, يا أبتي إني أخاف أن يمسك عذاب من الرحمن فتكون للشيطان وليا. He says, oh dear father, I truly fear that you will be touched by a torment. And يمسك عذاب. Brother Nu'man Ali Khan, he discussed, when someone says يمسك عذاب, they're being tormented by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a form of a punishment. And then he says, فَتَكُونَ لِلشَّيْطَانِ وَلِيًّا. I'm scared that Allah will punish you. And then you will be Satan's companion. Ya abati. And he says this over and over again. And then his father, he finally responded. And he says, قَالَ أَرَاغِبٌ أَنْتَ عَنْ آلِهَتِي يَا إِبْرَاهِيمُ. He threatened him. He says, how dare you? How dare you reject my idols, Ya Ibrahim? لَإِن لَمْ تَنْتَهِ لَأَرْجُمَنَّكَ. And then he said, if you do not stop this at once, I will certainly stone you. وَهْجُرْنِي مَلِيًّا. And he says, so be gone from me for a long time. Get away from me. And you see, we analyze what he said, right? It is very harsh coming from someone's father, right? لَإِن لَمْ تَنْتَهِ لَأَرْجُمَنَّكَ. If you do not stop this at once, I'll stone you. وَهْجُرْنِي مَلِيًّا. So leave me be. Leave me alone and leave me for a long time. Allahu Akbar. What did Prophet Ibrahim say? What did Prophet Ibrahim say? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, قَالَ سَلَامٌ عَلَيْكَ. Look at this beautiful and eloquent response. قَالَ سَلَامٌ عَلَيْكَ سَأَسْتَغْفِرُ لَكَ رَبِّي إِنَّهُ كَانَ بِي حَفِيًّا. Ibrahim, he responded with the most eloquent of answers, with the most respectful of answers. He says, peace be unto you. Peace be unto you. I will pray to my Lord for your forgiveness. He has truly been the most gracious to me. So this was Prophet Ibrahim's response to when his father threatened him. Salamun alayk. Astaghfiru laka rabbi. Innahu kana bi hafiya. And notice the first thing when we analyze this certain piece from Prophet Ibrahim's life, the first thing to notice is how Prophet Ibrahim, this phrase was repeated every time he spoke to his father. It says, Ya abati. And Ya abati in Arabic, this has a very enduring term. Ya abati is not like Ya abi. Right? Ya abati has a affectionate tone to it. It has a loving connotation to it, right? And he shows his father love from the beginning of the sentence, right? This is adab al-hiwar. This is one of the sciences of dialect or discussion. When you want something from someone or when you want to approach someone, what should be your first step? Approach them with love and show that love to them. Ya abati, he showed love to his father. And then the first thing he told him, he says, Ya abati, why? Why do you worship something that doesn't hear or see and it won't benefit you at all? He made him think. He didn't go up to him, he says, Ya abati, innaka dakhilul nari, Ya abati, you're going to hellfire. He made him think. He had this approach. He made him reflect over his own actions. And he didn't start by condemning him. And he didn't start by pointing out his wrong actions. But he invited him to reason. He invited him to think, right? And the third point is that when we read what through this hiwar, Prophet Ibrahim, he then explains to his father about the plot of shaitan. The plot of shaitan, how shaitan works, and who shaitan is. And if you were to follow shaitan, nothing good will come out of it. And the only thing you'll be left with is eternal loss. And then Prophet Ibrahim, he switched and he informed him about Allah. He informed him about the mercy of Allah. And finally, after his khitab, after Ibrahim finished his khitab with his father replied, and it was a very harsh reply. He says, قَالَ أَرَاغِبٌ أَنْتَ عَنْ آلِهَتِي. How dare you, Ya Ibrahim, how dare you say this about my aliha? And then he threatened him, لَإِن لَمْ تَنْتَهِ لَأَرْجُمَنَّكَ. If you do not stop this at once, I'll stone you. وَهْجُرْنِي مَلِيًّا. And leave me be. Be gone from me for a long time. And how did Prophet Ibrahim respond to this? How did Prophet Ibrahim take these harsh words from his father? Right? He says, peace be unto you. First and foremost, peace be unto you. Look, I'm not here to argue. I'm not here to fight you. I'm just here to advise you. I want the best for you. Now you're doing, you're reciprocating that for me. Peace be unto you. Salamun alayk. I'll ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive you. Right? He didn't yell. He didn't argue back. He didn't threaten him. And that's how we should be when talking with our parents. Even if our parents might sound harsh at times, we need to be in the moment and think about what we speak and think about what's coming out of our mouths. And then if we were to fast forward to a later part in Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam's life, when where Ibrahim is getting older and he started praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he says, Rabbi habli minas salihin. He asks Allah, my Lord, bless me with the righteous offspring. He's asking Allah, for children, for righteous children. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after some time, he replied to him. He says, فَبَشَّرْنَاهُ بِغُلَامٍ حَلِيمٍ. We gave him the good news of not only a child, not a ghulam, no, ghulam hakim, of a fantastic child who is patient, who is bearing. Right? Halim is such an interesting word. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with his son Ismail. And that child, he was growing right in front of Prophet Ibrahim's eyes. And if you guys really think about this, right, take 2 steps back. A man who hasn't had children for the longest time possible. And now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with a child. What do you think that child would, what status will that child hold in this man's life? Right? This child will hold a status like no other in this man's life. Right? That child, Ismail alayhi salam, he brought happiness and he brought joy to Prophet Ibrahim. Right? And the joy and happiness that he was feeling when Ismail was growing up in front of Ibrahim alayhi salam, it was unmatched. Unmatched joy. Wallahi, subhanAllah, for all of you parents, you can relate to this. You can relate to this. You can understand what it means to have a child. Like one time I was talking to a father, and he said, Marwan, he said, when my daughter came to this world, wallahi, it's like a truck hit me. And I was dizzy, right? He says, I love my daughter so much to the point where sometimes I ache to see her. I go to sleep and I can't wait until I wake up just to hug her. He says, Marwan, trust me, you won't understand this right now. I was looking at him, what are you saying? He says, you probably don't believe me right now. But once you have a child, you will know. And parents, you do know. Your child is your prized possession. Your child is the treasure that you've been awaiting all your life. And now imagine Prophet Ibrahim. Ibrahim right now, alayhi salam, is watching his son grow in front of him. And he was very delighted by his son. He was happy with him. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in another surah, فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ مَعَهُ السَّعْيَ قَالَ يَا بُنَيَّ إِنِّي أَرَى فِي الْمَنَامِ أَنِّي أَذْبَحُكَ فَانْظُرْ مَاذَا تَرَى. And this is one of the biggest tests that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had to put Ibrahim through. Prophet Ibrahim was receiving, every time he would sleep, he would see in his sleep that he would slaughter his son. And this dream kept on happening until he confirmed that this is from Allah. And then, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, when Ismail got to an age where he would hang out with his father, Ibrahim, he came to his son and he said, Ya bunay, inni ara fil manami anni adhbahuk. Oh my dear son, I have seen in a dream that I must sacrifice you. This is Allah. This isn't a dream from the shaitan. And what did Prophet Ismail say? He said, قال يا أبتي فعل ما تؤمر ستجدني إن شاء الله من الصابرين. He says, oh father, this ya abati again, form of love. Ya abati, if'al ma tu'mar. He says, oh, you my dear father, do as you're commanded. Do as you're commanded, and you will find me, insha'Allah, from the patient. From the patient. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, فَلَمَّا أَسْلَمَا وَتَلَّهُ لِلْجَبِينِ. And then this is where Prophet Ibrahim and his son Ismail, he was about to slaughter him. And he put him to the side. When they submitted, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, then when they submitted to Allah's will, and Ibrahim laid on the side of his forehead, and Ibrahim laid him on the side of his forehead. And narrations, they tell us that during that specific moment, Ismail, he told his father, let's not have eye contact. Let me look the other way. So, because you may hesitate if we have direct eye contact. And he does, and he puts him to the side. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows the pain that is going on inside of Ibrahim's chest, inside of Ibrahim's heart. But he decides to go through with it anyway. So now Ismail is on the ground, Ibrahim is holding a sharp knife, and as he was trying to slaughter his son, the knife would spin to the other side somehow. And he kept trying and trying, and it kept failing, and it didn't work out. And that's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He calls out Ibrahim. وَنَادَيْنَاهُ يَا إِبْرَاهِيمُ. He calls out to Ibrahim, قَدْ صَدَّقْتَ الرُّؤْيَا إِنَّا كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. You have fulfilled the vision. You have passed the test. Ya Ibrahim, this is how we reward the good doers. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells Prophet Ibrahim, قَدْ صَدَّقْتَ الرُّؤْيَا كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. You passed this test of yours. Ya Ibrahim, you showed me that I am more important than your son. And your son showed me that I am more important than his father. And I am more important than his life. Ya Ibrahim, you passed this test. Congratulations. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, إِنَّ هَذَا لَهُوَ الْبَلَاءُ الْمُبِينَ. Surely this was a clear test. This was a clear trial from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then He says, وَفَدَيْنَاهُ بِذَبْحٍ عَظِيمٍ. And we ransomed his son with a great sacrifice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, instead of Ibrahim sacrificing his son, He replaced his son with a ram from paradise. He replaced his son with the ram from paradise. And look at the reactions and the attitude Prophet Ibrahim and Ismail had during all of this. Look at their attitudes. Whether it was Ibrahim approaching his son, whether his son saying, Ya abati if'al ma tu'mar. Your father, do as you're commanded. Allah wants it, make it happen. And inshallah, you'll find me from the patient. Or whether it's just the overall reaction from them too. SubhanAllah, brothers and sisters. Wallahi, this story is something to deeply reflect upon. And inshallah, in the second part of the khutbah, we'll dive into more lessons on, and we'll examine the situation further. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فيا فوز المستغفرين استغفروه. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا ومولانا وقرة عيوننا محمد عليه أفضل السلام وأتم التسليم أما بعد. Brothers and sisters, a lot of lessons can be extracted from the story. And if we were to pay attention to the first part of the ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He talks about how Ibrahim approached his son. Ibrahim, he says, Ya Bunay. He says, oh my dear son. And again in Arabic, Bunay has a different connotation than if he were to say, Ya Ibni or Ya Waladi. Bunay has an affectionate tone, a caring tone to it. He approached him with love. He says, Ya Bunay. He says, oh my dear son, I have seen in my dream that I must slaughter you. It is a commandment from Allah. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? And this is what I wanted to focus on next. Why would Ibrahim tell his son, "Fanzur ma tara"? Why would he even ask him for his thoughts? This shows us he didn't demand absolute obedience. He didn't tell him, get on the floor right now, I'm slaughtering you. He didn't tell him, Allah told me to do this. Right now, no questions asked. He approached him with love. Ya Bunay, this happened. What do you think? And this, what do you think, wallahi, does wonders in terms of parenting. Wallahi, when you show kids and when you show your children that there is care, that their opinion is valid, and their opinion, you want to hear what they think, and you want to hear what's going through their heads, your children will feel a different type of way. They'll feel honored by you, and they'll feel respected by you. And this is how we should approach our children. Like Ibrahim approached his son Ismail with Ya Bunay and Fanzur ma tara. And this, this attitude of hearing the voices of our children, hearing their opinions, they are from the sunnah of all the prophets. They are from the sunnah of all the prophets. And the third point to note out is Ismail's response. And this is one of the most, amazing responses between two people that is mentioned in the Quran. He says, Ya abati, if'al ma tu'mar. Dear father, oh my dear father, look how he approached him. That love that he got reciprocated right back. And if you guys were to go back home, right, and you were to say that to your children will say nothing but I love you too. If you were to approach someone saying I love you, they'll most likely say, I love you too. So Prophet Ibrahim, he reciprocated that love that he got from his Prophet Ismail, he reciprocated the love that he got from his father. And that Ya Bunay, it reciprocated to Ya Abati. He says, Ya Abati, my dear father. And then he says, If'al ma tu'mar. And this is where it's very, very important. Why didn't he say, If'al ma tasha? Do what you wish. Why did he say, do what you're commanded to do? That is because Ismail valued Allah. He knew the places and the rankings of the people in his life. It was first Allah, then his father, then his parents. So then he went back to it. If'al ma tu'mar. He gave Allah his due diligence. He gave Allah the respect he deserved. And he showed Ibrahim, he showed him that, listen, you're my father, but Allah has another plan. Yes, this is going to be painful for both of us. But if Allah commanded you to do so, then Allah will surely take care of us. And look at the trust they both had in Allah. Look at the trust they both had in Allah to a point where he didn't hesitate. He says, Ya abati, don't just be gentle. He didn't say that. He says, Ya abati, if'al ma tu'mar, right away. No hesitation. Do what you're told. Do what you're told to do. And then he says, you will find me from the patient. He reassured his father. Right? He reassured his father. Us human beings, we need reassurance. You'll find me from the patient. And that is exactly what happened. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he rewarded them both immensely, for they both have passed the test. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us righteous children. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to be righteous parents. Allahumma اغفر لنا وارحمنا وعافنا واعف عنا وتجاوز عن سيئاتنا. اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة ونعوذ بك من عذاب النار وعذاب القبر. اللهم إنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from the righteous and to allow us to enter Jannah without any judgment. وأقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح، قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله.
لا إله إلا الله دائما أبدا لا إله إلا الله. استقيموا تراصوا يرحمني ويرحمكم الله.